The hidden signal. Commander Theron Nash stood at the observatory window of Lunar Base Epsilon, his weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as he studied the unusual energy readings flickering across his neural display. 20 years of service in the United Earth Defense Force hadn't prepared him for what he was seeing, a quantum signature unlike anything in their database, approaching from the outer solar system. "Sir, the signal's getting stronger," Lieutenant Porter called from her station, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Whatever it is, it's accelerating toward Earth's orbit." Nash ran a hand through his silver-streaked hair, weighing his options. The last time humanity had encountered an unknown alien signature, it had led to the Mars colony massacre. He wouldn't let history repeat itself. "Sound General Quarters," he ordered, his voice steady despite the tension coiling in his chest. "And get me a direct line to UEDF command." The base's warning klaxons began their low, pulsing wail as crew members rushed to their stations. Through the window, Nash could see the defense platforms powering up, their weapon systems casting a pale blue glow against the stark lunar landscape. The quantum signature suddenly stabilized, resolving into a single point of light that shimmered like oil on water. Nash had seen enough combat drops to know what came next, a jump point opening. "All weapons, maintain lock but do not fire unless ordered," he commanded, watching as a sleek vessel emerged from the dimensional tear. It was beautiful in an alien way, its hull composed of what appeared to be living crystal that shifted colors with each rotation. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," Porter announced, her voice tight with confusion. "It's in perfect English." Nash nodded. "Put it through." A holographic figure materialized in the center of the command center, a tall, humanoid female with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain entire galaxies. She wore what appeared to be ceremonial armor made of the same crystalline material as her ship. "Commander Theron Nash," she spoke, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. "I am Cassandra, diplomatic envoy of the Stellar Concordat. I come with a warning that could mean the survival or extinction of your species." Nash studied her projection carefully. "That's quite an introduction, Envoy Cassandra. Why should we trust anything you have to say?" "Because," she replied, her expression grave, "in exactly 47 of your Earth hours, a fleet of Vorkai warships will emerge from quantum space with the intention of harvesting your sun for energy, a process that will render your solar system uninhabitable." The command center fell silent. Nash's mind raced through the implications. The Vorkai were supposed to be a myth, spacefaring energy vampires that consumed stars and left dead systems in their wake. "We've never had contact with the Vorkai," Nash countered. "Why would they target us now?" Cassandra's holographic form stepped closer, her armor catching non-existent light. "Because your sun has something they desperately need, a unique quantum resonance that could power their empire for millennia. They've been watching, waiting for your civilization to reach a certain technological threshold. Now that you've achieved quantum communications, they consider you advanced enough to be a worthy challenge." "A challenge?" Nash's eyes narrowed. "They want to fight us. The Vorkai believe that any species worth destroying is worth fighting honorably first," Cassandra explained. "They will offer you a choice, surrender your sun willingly, or face extinction. Either way, they get what they want." Nash felt the weight of Earth's future settling onto his shoulders. "And the Stellar Concordat? What's your stake in this?" "We've been fighting the Vorkai for centuries, trying to prevent them from destabilizing entire sectors of space. But we can't directly intervene without triggering an interstellar war that would consume countless civilizations." Cassandra's eyes seemed to pierce through Nash. "What we can do is provide you with the knowledge and technology to defend yourselves. Technology that comes with a price, I assume." Cassandra smiled, but there was sadness in it. "The only price is that you must use it wisely. Humanity has great potential, Commander Nash. We've been watching you too. Your species' ability to adapt, to think creatively in crisis situations, it's remarkable. The Vorkai aren't the only ones who've noticed. Nash walked around the hologram, studying it from all angles. Why come to me? Why not go directly to UEDF command? Because your service record shows something rare, the ability to make impossible decisions while never losing sight of your humanity. The technology we're offering is powerful, Commander. In the wrong hands, it could be as destructive as the Vorkai themselves. Before Nash could respond, new alarms began blaring. Lieutenant Porter's fingers flew across her console. Sir, we're detecting quantum disturbances in the Kuiper belt, massive ones. The envoy's telling the truth. Something's coming. Nash looked at Cassandra's hologram, seeing the weight of countless similar conversations in her ancient eyes. He thought of Earth, of the billions of lives depending on the decision he was about to make. What exactly are you offering us? A chance, Cassandra replied. Something the Vorkai never give their victims. But we must act quickly. Their scouts will arrive within hours. Nash straightened his uniform and made the call that would change human history forever. Tell me everything. As Cassandra began explaining the details of advanced quantum weaponry and shield systems, Nash couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was about to be thrust onto a much larger stage, and that their performance would determine not just their own survival, but their place among the stars. The hidden signal that had brought Cassandra to their door was just the beginning. The real test of humanity's worth was about to begin. Beneath the surface. Dr. Farah Blackwood had spent 15 years studying alien communication patterns, but nothing had prepared her for this. The quantum data streaming across her lab's holographic displays at the Quantum Research Institute in Geneva showed patterns that defied conventional analysis. Run it again, she instructed her AI assistant, pushing her dark-rimmed glasses up her nose. The three-dimensional representation of the Vorkai quantum signatures rotated in the air before her, their complex harmonics telling a story she was only beginning to understand. Doctor, a familiar voice called from the doorway. She turned to see Commander Nash entering her lab, accompanied by the striking figure of Cassandra. Despite having been briefed about the alien diplomat, Farah still felt a chill run down her spine at the sight of her crystalline armor and otherworldly presence. Commander, Farah acknowledged, then nodded to Cassandra. I assume you're here about the anomalies I've detected in the Vorkai communications. Show me. Cassandra moved closer to the holographic display, her galaxial eyes reflecting the dancing patterns of quantum data. Farah gestured at the visualization. The Vorkai aren't just communicating, they're reshaping quantum space itself with these transmissions. It's like they're singing to reality. Quantum harmonics, Cassandra confirmed. It's how they coordinate their solar harvesting operations. Each ship in their fleet acts as a resonator, amplifying the effect. But there's something else, Farah brought up another dataset. Hidden beneath the primary signals, I'm detecting what appears to be a second layer of communication. Something they're trying to conceal even from their own fleet. Nash stepped forward, his expression grim. A secret channel? What are they hiding? Farah manipulated the hologram, isolating the buried signal patterns. It's heavily encrypted, but I've managed to decode fragments. They're not just coming to harvest our sun, they're running from something. Something that terrifies them. Cassandra's normally composed features showed a flicker of concern. The Void Hunters, she whispered. We'd heard rumors, but nothing confirmed until now. What are the Void Hunters? Nash demanded. A force that exists between dimensions, Cassandra explained. They emerge wherever the fabric of spacetime is damaged, exactly what happens when the Vorkai harvest a star. We thought they were just seeking revenge for destroyed systems, but this. She gestured at the hidden communications, this suggests they're actually hurting the Vorkai. Driving them toward specific targets. Farah's mind raced with the implications. Our sun. Something about its quantum resonance doesn't just make it valuable as an energy source, it makes it a weapon. Or a key, Cassandra added. The Vorkai's desperation makes more sense now. They're not expanding their empire, they're looking for a way to fight back against the Void Hunters. Nash ran a hand through his hair, a habit Farah had noticed he displayed when processing difficult information. So we're caught between an army of stellar vampires and interdimensional predators. Perfect. Not exactly, Farah pulled up her latest calculations. If I'm reading these patterns correctly, we might be able to use the Vorkai's own quantum harmonics against them. Turn their fleet into a massive interference pattern. That would require precisely coordinated quantum pulses from multiple points in space, Cassandra observed. Your current technology isn't capable of that level of precision, Farah finished. But maybe we don't need to match their technology. Maybe we just need to understand the music they're playing and introduce a few wrong notes. Nash studied the quantum patterns thoughtfully. How long would you need? With Cassandra's help understanding the basic principles of quantum harmonics? Maybe 36 hours. But we'd need a way to broadcast the interference pattern across the entire solar system. The Lunar Defense Network, Nash said. We could reprogram the quantum communication arrays to act as broadcasters. It's never been tested at that scale, Farah cautioned. We could end up doing more damage than the Vorkai. We're out of options, Nash replied. The scout ships will be here in less than 10 hours. Once they confirm Earth's position, the main fleet will follow. He turned to Cassandra. Will you help us? The alien diplomat studied the quantum data streams, her expression unreadable. What you're proposing could create ripples in quantum space that attract the attention of the Void Hunters. You would be placing your entire civilization at risk. We're already at risk, Farah argued. At least this way we choose our fate. Cassandra was quiet for a long moment, then nodded. The Concordat chose well in coming to Earth. Your species continues to surprise us. She placed a crystalline device on Farah's workbench. This contains our complete knowledge of quantum harmonics. Use it wisely. As Farah began integrating the alien data with her research, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. The Vorkai's hidden messages suggested a level of fear that went beyond even the threat of the Void Hunters. What were they really running from? And what would happen when humanity joined this cosmic dance of predator and prey? The answers, she suspected, lay somewhere in the quantum songs echoing across space. She just hoped they'd decode them before it was too late. Breaking point. Lieutenant Rhys Davidson watched the tactical display as the first Vorkai scout ships entered the inner solar system. Their crystalline hulls reflected the distant sunlight, making them look like deadly jewels against the void of space. Status report, he ordered from the bridge of the UES Hyperion, Earth's most advanced stealth vessel. Quantum interference grid is at 60% capacity, his tactical officer, Jensen, reported. Dr. Blackwood's modifications are holding, but we're seeing power fluctuations in the outer arrays. Rhys tightened his grip on the command rail. They had one shot at this. If the scout ships detected their presence before the quantum trap was ready, the entire operation would fail. Message from Lunar Command, Communications Officer Patel announced. Commander Nash reports the Concordat defense systems are integrated and ready. Cassandra's ship is in position behind Titan. The plan was audacious, perhaps even insane. They would use the Hyperion's experimental quantum drive to lure the Vorkai scouts into position, then trigger a cascading resonance that would disrupt their ability to communicate with their main fleet. If it worked, they'd buy Earth precious time. If it failed, they'd reveal their only tactical advantage. New contacts, Jensen called out. 3 more scout ships just emerged from quantum space. They're taking up screening positions around the first group. Rhys studied their formation. The Vorkai moved with precise coordination, their ships maintaining perfect geometric patterns that somehow felt both tactical and artistic. Sir, Patel's voice was tense. We're picking up fragments of their communications. Dr. Blackwood was right, they're scared. These aren't just scout ships. They're running from something. Let's hope they're too busy looking behind them to notice what's ahead, Reese replied. All stations, prepare for quantum pulse on my mark. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, but Reese could feel their nervousness. They'd trained for traditional space combat, not this elaborate dance of quantum frequencies and hidden signals. Lieutenant, Jensen's voice cracked slightly. The void, it's changing. Reese looked up at the main viewport and felt his breath catch. The space between the Vorkai ships had taken on a subtle distortion, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. But instead of rising, these waves seemed to fold in on themselves, creating patterns that hurt his eyes to look at. They're starting their preliminary scan, he announced. Everyone remember the briefing. When they probe our sector, they'll detect exactly what we want them to, a small quantum anomaly that looks like a poorly hidden weapons facility. The minutes stretched like hours as they watched the Vorkai scouts methodically sweep the solar system. Reese could almost feel their alien sensors washing over the Hyperion's hull, seeking any sign of advanced technology that would justify their invasion. They've detected the bait, Jensen reported. 2 ships are breaking formation to investigate. Reese took a deep breath. Begin quantum pulse sequence. Remember, timing is everything. We have to let them get close enough to be caught in the resonance field, but not so close they detect our true capabilities. The Hyperion's quantum drive began to hum, its pitch rising steadily as it built up power. On his neural display, Reese could see the other elements of their trap moving into position, defense platforms adjusting their broadcast frequencies, Cassandra's ship charging its exotic weapons, and dozens of smaller drones carrying quantum resonators to key positions. Vorkai ships are entering optimal range, Jensen announced. 15 seconds to maximum effectiveness. Send the signal to Lunar Command, Reese ordered. Tell them to dash. His words were cut off by a sudden screech of alarms. The tactical display erupted with new signatures as space itself seemed to tear open between the Vorkai scouts. Multiple quantum ruptures. Jensen shouted. Something's coming through. The void distortions they'd noticed earlier were expanding, taking on impossible geometries. Through them, Reese caught glimpses of things that shouldn't exist, shapes that violated the laws of physics, beings that seemed to be made of living mathematics. Void hunters, Patel whispered in horror. The Vorkai scouts immediately broke off their approach, their perfect formation dissolving into chaos. But the things emerging from the quantum ruptures moved with impossible speed, tendrils of pure energy reaching out to grasp the crystalline ships. Sir, what are your orders? Jensen asked, his voice steady despite the impossible scene unfolding before them. Reese watched as one of the Vorkai ships was pulled into a quantum rift, its crystalline hull shattering as it disappeared into whatever dimension lay beyond. Their carefully laid trap was falling apart, but perhaps. Modify the quantum pulse, he ordered. Use the Vorkai's panic to mask our signal. If we can't trap them, maybe we can trap their hunters. As his crew rushed to implement the new plan, Reese sent a priority message to Commander Nash, Operation compromised. Void hunters present. Attempting adaptation of original strategy. Be advised, the real war may not be with the Vorkai after all. The space around the Hyperion continued to warp and twist as humanity's first battle with the Void Hunters began. But as Reese watched the chaos unfold, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were all still missing something crucial. The Vorkai's fear, the Hunters' arrival, Earth's unique sun, all pieces of a puzzle they didn't yet understand. But they would need to solve it quickly, because the universe was running out of safe places to hide. The bridge between worlds. Cultural attaché Nadia Santos stood in the heart of the stellar Concordat's embassy ship, surrounded by holographic representations of humanity's history. The crystalline walls pulsed with scenes from Earth's past, ancient migrations, technological achievements, wars, and moments of peace, all collected by the Concordat's silent observers over centuries. Your species is unique, Cassandra said, moving through the displays with fluid grace. You build wonders and wage wars, create art and devise weapons, all with equal passion. But it's your ability to adapt that truly sets you apart. Nadia watched a simulation of the recent battle near Saturn, where the UES Hyperion had turned a trap meant for the Vorkai into a weapon against the Void Hunters. We had help, she pointed out. Your technology, your knowledge. Tools are meaningless without wisdom to guide them, Cassandra replied. Which is why I've asked you here. There's something you need to see, something that may explain why Earth has become the focal point of this conflict. The hologram shifted, showing a star map of the galaxy. Hundreds of points of light turned red, marking systems the Vorkai had harvested over millennia. But there was a pattern to their destruction that Nadia hadn't noticed before. They're drawing something, she realized, studying the arrangement of dead stars. Like a giant circuit board across the galaxy. Or a key, Cassandra confirmed. The Vorkai aren't just consuming stars for energy, they're creating a vast quantum network. Each harvested system becomes a node in their pattern. But the pattern was incomplete, missing a crucial resonance frequency. Until they found our sun, Nadia understood. But why? What are they trying to unlock? Cassandra's crystalline armor dimmed slightly. The Void Hunters aren't natural predators, Nadia. They're sentinels, left behind by beings far older than any of our civilizations. The Vorkai discovered this truth in the ruins of a dead world. The Hunters guard something hidden in the space between dimensions. Before Nadia could respond, an alert chimed through the embassy ship. Dr. Blackwood's face appeared in a holographic window, her expression urgent. The quantum harmonics, she began without preamble. I've finished decoding the deep patterns. The Vorkai aren't trying to access another dimension, they're trying to seal one off. The Void Hunters aren't guardians, they're prisoners, and their jail is breaking down. Nadia felt a chill as the implications became clear. And whatever they're guarding is trying to get out. Worse, Farah continued. I think it's already starting to leak through. Those distortions Lieutenant Davidson reported. They're not just spatial anomalies. They're wounds in reality itself, and they're spreading. Cassandra moved to a control interface, bringing up new data streams. The Concordat suspected something like this, but we never imagined the scale. The Vorkai's galactic pattern isn't a key, it's a lock, designed to reinforce the dimensional barriers. And they need our sun to complete it, Nadia finished. But why didn't they just tell us? Why prepare for invasion? Because the lock requires more than just stellar energy, Cassandra said quietly. It requires sacrifice. The quantum resonance that makes Earth's sun special comes from its connection to conscious life, to humanity itself. Completing the pattern would save the galaxy, but Earth would be cut off from the rest of space forever, trapped in a pocket dimension. Nadia's diplomatic training kicked in, helping her process the devastating revelation. How long do we have? The dimensional barriers are failing exponentially, Farah reported. Based on my calculations, less than 12 hours before the first major breaches occur. The Vorkai fleet will arrive in 10. Then we have 2 hours to make an impossible choice, Nadia said. Save humanity, or save the galaxy. She turned to Cassandra. Unless there's another way. Something even the Vorkai haven't considered. The alien diplomat's galaxial eyes seemed to flare. There might be. Your species' ability to adapt, to find new solutions, perhaps that's why the quantum resonance of your sun is so unique. The Vorkai see sacrifice as the only option because that's all they understand. But humanity. She gestured at the historical holograms still playing around them. Humanity has a habit of changing the rules. Nadia studied the galactic pattern again, her mind racing. We need to contact Commander Nash and Lieutenant Davidson. If we're going to attempt something never done before, we'll need every asset we have. And we'll need to convince the Vorkai to work with us instead of against us. They won't be easily persuaded, Cassandra warned. They've spent millennia working toward this solution. Then we'll have to show them something better, Nadia replied. It's time humanity proved why we're worth saving, not through sacrifice, but through innovation. As they began formulating their desperate plan, the fabric of spacetime continued to fray around them. The choice between extinction and isolation had been replaced by something far more ambitious, an attempt to rewrite the laws of dimensional physics itself. But first, they would have to bridge the gap between four very different species: humanity, the Concordat, the Vorkai, and whatever ancient horror the Void Hunters had been created to contain. Convergence. The void between Mars and Earth rippled with quantum distortions as the main Vorkai fleet emerged from hyperspace. Commander Nash watched from Lunar Base Epsilon's command center as hundreds of crystalline ships took up attack positions, their formation forming intricate patterns that seemed to bend the light around them. "Status report," he ordered, keeping his voice steady despite the tension filling the room. "Dr. Blackwood's quantum harmonics are ready," Lieutenant Porter responded. "The Hyperion is in position with Lieutenant Davidson commanding. Nadia Santos has established contact with the Vorkai fleet." On the main display, Nash could see the massive form of the Vorkai flagship, a structure of living crystal that dwarfed even their largest vessels. Between the alien armada and Earth hung Cassandra's diplomatic ship, its iridescent hull pulsing with energy. "Begin transmission," Nash commanded. Nadia's voice filled the command center as she addressed the Vorkai fleet. "We know what you're trying to accomplish. We understand about the dimensional barriers and what lies beyond them. But there's a better way." The response came in a cascade of quantum frequencies that the computers translated into words. "Your understanding is irrelevant. The pattern must be completed. The barriers must be sealed. The barriers are already failing," Dr. Blackwood cut in from her lab. "Even if you complete your pattern now, it won't be strong enough. The quantum resonance you're trying to harness, it's not just about our sun. It's about consciousness, about life itself. Which is why your world must be sacrificed," the Vorkai replied. "The resonance of billions of sentient minds, locked in a pocket dimension, it is the only way." "No," Rhys Davidson's voice joined the conversation from the Hyperion. "It's just the only way you found so far. But we have something you don't: perspective. We can see the pattern you've been building, but we can also see what you've missed." Nash watched as Dr. Blackwood transmitted their solution, a new quantum algorithm that incorporated the Vorkai's galactic pattern but transformed it from a lock into something entirely different. "Instead of cutting Earth off from space," Nadia explained, "we can use the combined resonance of your fleet, our sun, and every quantum-capable device in the solar system to create a bridge. Not a barrier between dimensions, but a controlled gateway." "Impossible," the Vorkai leader declared, but there was uncertainty in their quantum harmonics. "We've run the simulations," Dr. Blackwood pressed. "With your knowledge of stellar engineering and our understanding of quantum consciousness, we can transform the very nature of the breach you've been trying to seal. Instead of imprisoning the entity behind the Void Hunters, we can give it a way to exist in our universe without destroying it." The void between the fleets began to twist as more hunters emerged, their impossible geometries threatening to tear reality apart. But this time, something was different. The quantum harmonics from Earth's defensive grid were changing the way they manifested. "Now, Lieutenant Davidson," Nash ordered. The Hyperion's experimental drive activated, sending out a pulse of precisely modulated quantum energy. The Vorkai fleet, recognizing the pattern in the transmission, began to respond. Their ships moved into new configurations, transforming their battle formation into something more complex. "Concordat vessels are synchronizing," Cassandra reported. "Quantum resonance is approaching theoretical maximum." The space around them began to change. The wounds in reality that had been leaking chaos into their universe started to stabilize, their edges becoming defined, controlled. Through them, Nash caught glimpses of something vast and ancient, the entity the Void Hunters had been created to contain. But instead of the horror they had expected, they saw a being of pure quantum potential, neither malevolent nor benign, simply different. Through the quantum harmonics, they could sense its curiosity, its desire to understand rather than destroy. "The barriers," Dr. Blackwood announced, her voice filled with wonder. "They're not failing, they're evolving." The entity wasn't trying to break out, it was trying to wake up. The Void Hunters, sensing the change in their ancient charge, began to transform. Their impossible geometries resolved into crystalline structures that mirrored both Vorkai and human designs, bridges between realities. "We offer peace," the entity communicated through the quantum network they had created together. "For eons, I dreamed of understanding the universe beyond my prison. You have given me a way to explore without destroying. To learn without consuming." Nash watched as the combined fleets maintained their positions, holding open a controlled gateway between dimensions. What had begun as a battle for survival had become first contact with something far beyond their understanding. "There will be much to discuss," Cassandra observed. "Many details to work out." "That's what diplomacy is for," Nadia replied with a smile. As the crisis subsided and the real work of building bridges between civilizations began, Nash reflected on how close they had come to disaster, and how humanity's greatest strengths had proven to be not their weapons or technology, but their ability to imagine new possibilities. The quantum harmonics of Earth's sun continued to pulse in concert with the galactic pattern the Vorkai had created, but now it sang a different song, not of isolation and sacrifice, but of connection and growth. They had changed not just their own fate, but the very nature of spacetime itself. And somewhere in the quantum spaces between dimensions, an ancient entity began to learn what it meant to create rather than destroy, guided by the combined wisdom of three younger civilizations who had chosen to build bridges instead of walls.